So thanks for joining us again today, guys, depending on whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening to us on our podcast. Today, I have got a fantastic guy called John, who I've known for a while now. The reason I've got John on today is he's probably one of the most motivated and positive people I've ever had the pleasure to meet. He's got a million and one fantastic, weird and wonderful, crazy ideas at any one given moment. But unlike most people, John actually puts his ideas into practice. And to be honest, I think the best person to introduce himself and to talk about those ideas is the man himself. So welcome to the program, John.
What's up, Jerry? Thanks for having me on, mate. It's all good. Yeah, it's brilliant. I've been following what you were doing. It's really impressive. It's motivational itself, you know. It's hard, funny times at the moment, isn't it? You know,
very fun.
Work out what you want to do. No one's ever been in this sort of situation before. It's like you live in history, you know. And what you come out of this with is, you know, you come out with anything. Like you've got all this time on your hands to build something, to make something, to do something. You've never spent so much time with your family. How amazing is like this situation that we're in? I grew up. My dad was always working. Every day was working. He was, you know, always grafting. And I've always said that we had nothing sort of growing up. But mum and dad were that good. We never even knew we had nothing at all. Like he was always grafting. He was always there. We always had what we wanted when we needed it. Lived in a little council estate and everything. But now you look at the situation we've got now. You've never had the opportunity to spend so much time with your family before. You've never had. Like you're going to have children that are growing up thinking their parents have always been there. We've had opportunity to do everything, but we've been stuck indoors. So it's done wonders for the environment. It's done, you know, technology can go out the window and everything. We're talking to each other even more. If we was, you know, it's unsociable media has become social media because it's the only way we can contact each other. And it's a beautiful thing. I think this can only be a good thing for people. You know, the isolation side of things, if you're on your own, is probably not so great. But you know, you can get around like bits like that. It can build. You've got time to look a bit inwards and better yourself. You know, you're providing so much content. You know, you and the guys from ABC, like for workouts, for yoga, I've seen it. For mindfulness, you know, inspirational posts, everything. It's a library, like a plethora of things that you want. And that's the positivity you've got to have the outlook at. You know, everyone's got something to say.
Yeah.
And you can come on and you can have a platform. Go on YouTube, go on Zoom, write a blog, go on Facebook, talk to people, talk to the world. You know, everyone's got something to say. And it's a great thing. And everyone wants to listen. It's one man's floor is another man's ceiling. Do you know what I mean? I love this. I love this. It's been massively creative for me to just be able to just concentrate on anything I want, whenever I want, you know?
Kid in the candy shop, right? So you just had I mean, tell some of the guys that are getting involved with this. So give them a little bit of a brief idea of some of the projects or ideas that have come to fruition because of the lockdown. What kind of stuff you've been up to?
Well, I've always been the sort of person where I'm itchy fingered. I've got, I need stuff to do. I need to my mind won't stop. So my actual current proper job, I'm an electrician. So I'm qualified electrician, electrical engineer, and I work for Network Rail. So my day job is I run the electrification for the south of England. So Kent, Wessex, Sussex, Anglia, all the electrification side of that. Yeah. It's really good. I can remote work 50 to 60, 70% remotely most of the time. So I've got a lot of time on my hands to be able to do stuff. And that's a busy job. But on the side of that, I know, and I'm clever enough to know, that multiple streams of income is where it's at. So let's take, for instance, how we are now. If you had a multiple streams of income, your day job might have all of a sudden stopped. You might have to go onto the furlough scheme and everything like that. And now those other streams of income kick into place. So for me, it was always not to be able to want to work to that level. I wanted other streams. So I started a pest control company a little while ago. And then I started, I started writing books. Like just sitting on the commute. Like I'm traveling from where we live, like in Essex, into London, and then that journey to me, it bothered me because I didn't want to watch films. I wanted to earn money. You know, I had ideas. I'd sit there and I'd start with a notepad, and in my notepad, it's got prospective business ideas, and there's loads from apps to writing books to companies that I wanted to start on the internet and everything else. And during this current time where I am now, I've used that time to nearly finish 4 books. I've nearly finished it. And I started 2 or 3 different websites. I had a couple of ideas for some other bits and pieces. I've gone into I started a little entrepreneurs website for children, for kids. Because my son, he's 12. Yeah. And my brother, he does coding and website building. And he's been going around and sitting with him and learning how to do coding. And he's 12. And he's now sitting there talking to me about writing apps and building things. And for me, and I was sitting there watching him thinking, wow, that's really impressive. What if there was like an entrepreneur's thing for kids who want to learn, you know, who want to be like a fitness trainer or want to be a chef. Or all these people are doing this, and they could pass that knowledge on, like a hub for them to learn and for them to do it. So that I started to build that as well. Just I've 1,001 crazy ideas in my head, and one of the first chapters I wrote in one of my books that I wrote a little while ago was, if you picture it like a railway station and you're stood on the upper deck of that railway station, you're looking down, and there's all these different like platforms, one to say 15, 20, whatever, and there's thousands of people running in all different directions, and there's so much noise. That's what my head's like. And all these people, all these stations, they're ideas, and all I need to do is get this to there to get it to start. And it's that focus on trying to focus on each one. That's what it's like all the time. So many different ideas that I've got, and just putting them into place. And all I've done in this time is try and put them all to a position where I'm ready to start. But at the same time, I suffer from probably what you do, is you start too many things at once.
Yeah.
And you don't end up finishing anything. So you have to get something to where it's got to be, really push it through, and then work on the next one, and then push it, and trying to outsource things. And that's the key. You know, if you try to use that time to do that, and plus be with my 1,000 kids.
I mean, that's the other thing as well. You know, what you've just said there hits the nail on the head for me personally, and I definitely resonate with that. I spoke to Russ, did an interview with Russell yesterday. Now, you know, obviously you're related to Russ, so you'll know him very well. And he's more like a brother than a cousin to you, isn't he? He's you're very close. And I told him that the way that I'm always described by my wife, and you'll probably be the same, is like I'm Internet Explorer, but with 20 tabs open, and any given one, I bounce from tab to tab, and I don't quite finish the search.
I'm exactly the same, and even go one step further. I've got 2 screens above where I'm sitting now, and each one has got about 50 tabs open on each of the sides of bits. But the thing is, you're like me. You can't have nothing going on. It's got to be something going on. I have to be busy. I have to be moving. I don't want to stagnate. It's moving water all the time, you know. And you're like the bear waiting for the fish. Do you know what I mean? They're always moving, and eventually, you grab one when it's ready. When you're ready to do it, you're there, and you've got it. Will Smith said something really good once. He said when he was training to do the film Ali, and he said to him, after you've done Ali, you kept in that fitness. And he said, if I stay ready, I don't have to get ready. And that's it. You have to be ready for. The worst thing in the world is we're in this position now where everyone's stuck indoors. Now, it opens up many opportunities. If you're into the stock market, all these big blue chip stocks, they're on their arse. They're on their arse at the moment, yeah. If you have a little bit of money and you were ready, you had that pot sitting there, you're ready to make money. Because in a year's time, when those stocks go through the roof, you've made a fortune. Like in 2007, gold price was really low because the interest rates were high. And the way it works is when interest rates rise, gold price lows. When interest rates lower, nobody makes money saving money, so they throw it all into commodities like gold, so they make the money. So in 2007, an ounce of gold was only 250 quid. Now it's £1,500, and I had loads of money put into Krugerrands and everything. I made about 12 to 15 grand just off buying little gold Krugerrands. And I sold them all off. And it just and that's what you're looking. So if you look at how it is now, interest rates are at 0. So gold price is at its highest point. Yeah. So when interest rates start to rise, which is what they do after this comes out to stop a recession, what's called quantitative easing, where they pump money into it, those interest rates will start to rise and that gold price will start to drop. But to stop the recession, businesses will start to flourish. We're going to have a bad time when we come out of this, but if you're ready and you've got that money there sitting, you can make a fortune. You could make a fortune. There's always money to be made. There's always ideas. A lot of these big firms are going to struggle, and you can come in with something, a product that might be better with limited overheads that you've got, and crush it completely. I'm a big advocate, like you, of giving out free content.
As much as possible, yeah.
As much, because the value in that, you don't chase the money, right? You give out the content, you give out everything you want to build the following, you build the trust, you're giving something that people want, and you're giving it to them for nothing, and they're like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Once you've got that following, these core people, they believe in what you've got, you know, they believe in everything. So like, it's just, and they will be your core followers to buy anything you want. Like I always said this to Russell, would you rather have 1 million followers or £1 million? You'd rather have 1 million decent followers, because if you got every one of those followers to have £1 a month subscription to whatever it is that you're doing, that's 1 million a month, you know. And you're not, that's not a swindle, that's people trusting you enough in your content, in everything that you build and everything that you do, you know.
And then they know that you'll provide the service that they want when they want it as well.
Yeah, that's it. Look, here's one of the many kids. Look, come say hello to me, Jude. This is the perks of having a home office. You just get invaded.
Oh, I've got my door locked. I had it the other day because Rosie at the moment is currently running around. You'll hear them screeching in the background, but Rosie was running around naked and trying to jump in the podcast naked, and obviously not going to work out that great.
No,
going back to the stocks as well. Yeah, sorry, going back to the stocks as well. You know, I'm amazed at some of the opportunities that are out there. Obviously, not with things like Debenhams or anything like that. But you know, I was looking at BA. I was looking at
BA is a big one. IAG is a big one. Like they're, because of the size of what they are.
And Carousel. Have you seen Carousel PLC at the moment?
Yeah, that's it. So a lot of the renewable energy firms are really good. You've obviously got Amazon, people like that. Tesla, they're going through the roof. All the renewable energy firms. I mean, there's so much opportunity to do it.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
You got to hedge your bets, though, haven't you? You do have to hedge your bets.
Diversification is the key to everything. Like you said before, it's not just in stocks or in shares, but in life, in everything you do. Like I'm an engineer by trade, but the rest of my business ideas have got nothing to do with engineering. They're everything to do with the other interests that I have, like from the pest control side of things, which I knew was always going to make money anyways, to something to do with children. Do you know what I mean? With kids and stuff like that. I wrote books about motivation because I'm one of these people that you just, if you're winning and you want others to win as well, you don't want to be, it's lonely at the top, isn't it? You know, if you become a multi-millionaire tomorrow, like you won the lottery, people say, what would you do with that money? Would it change it? Of course it would. Of course it would change it. But the problem is you should become alone, because none of your friends, your core friends, have money. So you can do everything you want and they don't. And it's the same principle with business. If you're elevated and they're elevated and they're successful and you are, then that's the best way to do it. It's like you got baby showers. You know, like when a girl's pregnant, they have a baby shower. They all go around there and they celebrate it and they prize. We should do business baby showers.
Yeah. You said this before. I love that.
We all come together. We all share it. Like something I've noticed recently as well is that people are putting posts on Facebook to say it's a difficult time. Can you share my business with your community? I love that. I fire it out to everybody. I want everybody to succeed. If they just get one job just because you shared it, then so be it. Well, there's no reason to not want anyone to succeed. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
I've actually got a because everyone seemed to catch on to that quite quickly, and that post hit my news feed where I think everyone in your own community or in your own following will nick it off each other, which is the idea of it. So I've actually written posts and reminders in my phone to stagger to everyone I want to share. So tomorrow, for instance, I'm going to share something called Danik Construction, which is my friend Dave's building company. Because what I nearly did was just shared everything. And then I thought, hang about, that means all of my friends are going to get like 40 bloody 40 invites. And they're not going to do
Which is actually what's happened, because everyone's done that anyways. Because I go on there and it's got like all these notifications and I'm just liking everything, you know. You just do.
I'm not going to lie. I am liking the stuff that's relevant to me. I already do like the majority of my competitors as well. for more
Oh,
than
what
one
with
reason.
the fitness side of things?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, no, for more than one reason though. A, for inspiration. B, if we can make it almost like a cult thing where it's trendy and people realise the value of working out of a smaller facility where you get more of a personal touch. Then if everyone's doing well, the big chains are going to kind of be, they're going to get found out. You see, like the big cheap firms are going to get kind of made redundant, if you like, because they're crap. They're crap. And the quicker
They're
people
charging a lot of
realise.
money as well, aren't they? They're charging a lot of money for what it is. You look at like your David Lloyds and your Virgins.
Well,
People like that.
I've got a lot of time for David Lloyd. I've got a lot of time for David Lloyd, and I've got a lot of time for Virgin. Not for the owner, bearing in mind what he's recently done. Used to
Oh,
love
yeah.
Richard Branson, but lately he's let the side down a bit, which not overly impressed with. But one of those things. Still think he's an amazing man. Just think that maybe error of judgment with asking for a bailout. Put your money where your mouth is, I think. But it's got to come from somewhere, and I would have thought that
I think
it's not going
from
to
that,
just be him.
I think from that perspective, if you look at it from a business owner's perspective, like yourself, and from a smaller stage, you're your sole business owner. Whereas I think Richard Branson himself is a director of a board.
Of course,
and that board may have 20 share and stakeholders in it. Now, he may own 51% of that business or whatever else, but the stakeholders that they've got in there, they still want their profit. It's an investment.
Yeah, of course.
I think, I think it's difficult. He's never going to pay it out of his own pocket. I mean, I read the post about he's got 4.1 billion, and if he paid everyone 500 quid a week for that 8 weeks, then he'll still have 4 billion. He's asked them to take 8 weeks unpaid leave and some of their holiday and everything else to write. And then he said, we can have redundancies and everything else. I do get it. That's the problem. And I'm not saying he's right in what he's done or wrong. I think it's incredibly difficult for a business owner with the amount of overheads, because the airline industry has taken an absolute fucking beating like recently. And I'm not 100% sure how most of them are going to get out of it. You're going to get to a stage where, that might have been me. That's it. They're going to get to a stage where a lot of these firms are going to go under. Yeah. Loads of them. Even EasyJet are having that problem at the moment. Like that Stelios, he's got a board, and he's saying that he wants them to stop buying planes. They've been buying 737 Maxes. I think it was 20 a year every year for their growth. But even now they're struggling because of the problems that they've got, even though they saturate the market and they own everything. He's telling them to stop and they're not. So like there's an argument between that, and he's saying like you're going to have to find that happy medium, or we're going to have to start laying people off. Or the board is saying no, we've got to expand. I think Richard Branson's got the same problem. I think he's getting tired with the brush of saying Virgin's 100% is, and I don't think it is. Like most of it.
I suppose there is obviously that. His hands are going to be tied by the board, and at the same time, it is a rock and a hard place. I think that maybe more clarity with that may have helped him in the media. But hey, can you trust the media? So look, let's look at moving forward from that. What are you finding at the moment in your house? What has been a struggle you've had to overcome?
Do you know what? I'm going to be honest. I listen to a lot of people, and I listen to them that they say that they're struggling and they're bored. They want to go to the pub. They want to go out and they want to do stuff. And I'm not actually struggling so much with anything because I'm so busy, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm so busy all the time. This time I've had at home to sit here in my office. I've got an office in my house. You've been in my place. I've got a bar. I've got like a pub in my house, like a proper bar.
You got everything you need.
If I want to go to the pub, I'll go and sit in there. I've got a separate lounge to my kids if I wanted to, where we could have a movie room. I've got a big back garden. So for me, to be here has actually been less stressful than going to work. It's been less of a struggle for me to be at home because I've had the time to get up and do what I want to do from a work perspective. I've had the time to spend time with my family, my wife, and everything else. She's pregnant, so I've got 8 kids, number 9 on the way, just to get out there. The new one's due in July, so it's been nice to spend time with all of them together. You know what I mean? That's it. The struggle that I've had, if I had to have one, has actually been working out, because I'm so used to getting up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm in your gym for 5, right? And I'm training with Russell and the boys for the Busy Man Club, the 5 a.m. club, which is Mustard, by the way. And I've been doing that for years, like 4 or 5 years now, you know, and I love that. And that was it. It's for me, with a busy family, busy work, it's get up early while everyone's asleep. Mike Tyson said that. I get up and I run at 2, 3, 4 in the morning because my competitors are asleep and I've got the edge. I'm training when they're not. And I see that as the same thing. I get up, my wife's not calling me. The kids are asleep. Work's not calling me. Nothing's started yet. I've started. I get this. I handle my business, then I handle my business. And I say that to Russell. Get up, get training, get home. I feel good. I feel euphoric, and I'm up and that. And now, the problem at the moment is, for me, is everything's coming into place work-wise, family-wise, and financial-wise. It's great, but training-wise, for me, I'm getting up a bit later. I'm going to the bar maybe a bit too much. You know, I'm drinking. I love a drink. I do.
Yeah, same.
And I don't normally drink alone, but you're not alone. You get on the Zoom call, you get on the what's it called, house party. You're playing games, you're having a few beers, or you sit down and you're drinking. I've probably drunk more since I've been off than I have any other time.
Yeah, same. I've drunk absolutely loads. I spoke to you earlier about it, but yeah, I've been absolutely hammering it.
It is. That's it. And I love drinking, so I'm going to drink. And I've been using this time. Like, Russell laughs because he says that he can't get certain people to pay £30 a month or £20 a month for a gym membership, or to really look after himself. And I spend 5 times that on a beer membership, right? For Brewdog or something like that. Because and that's another thing. Like, we'll get onto that, right, with the whole membership thing. But like, it's for me, it's finding the happy medium with the training. I really enjoy getting up, having that camaraderie with the lads, because it's such a good group of lads and it's such a good place to train in the morning. And you can get yourself into a different mindset. I'm there, and that's what I struggle with. It's hard. Russell does like a really good like app thing that he does, and you guys do the online training and that. I just can't seem to get into it here at home. I don't know why. Maybe it's just I just enjoy that gym. I enjoy the solitude, the focus that it brings. I just really enjoy that, and that's what I've really struggled with. Nothing else.
Community, isn't it? It's a fantastic community, and we work on that. You know, I mean, that is kind of our thing, and we make sure it feels like community. And Russ does it massively with BMFC.
It's family. We all drink together. We all go out together. We have a WhatsApp group. You have banter and everything else, and that's what it feels like when you go in there. Everybody knows everybody in there, and it's like, it's friendly. And I love that. And I love it's my playground. And that's what I miss. I miss that playground. And I can't recreate that here. And that's what I'm really struggling with the most. Like, I've bought different equipment and stuff like that, and I go for a little run. But I can't emulate that here like I can in your place. Like, and that's the only thing that I'm mega bothered about. That's really, the rest is all coming together. It's all good.
So what, I mean, for people that are watching or listening to this, what advice would you give, if any, just for people to kickstart just a project? Starting small, what would you say?
So if you've got an idea, it doesn't matter what it is, because most ideas and most businesses and everything you've got has predominantly been done. Don't worry about saturation. Don't worry about the market. Don't worry about perfecting something. You're not looking for perfection. You're looking for a start. It's called a start-up for a reason. Now, an idea is just an idea if it's in your head.
Yeah.
You can talk to people about it. You can get a bit of validation about it. It only becomes a plan when you take your hand and pick up a pen. I was looking for one there, but I couldn't find one next to me. Right? You pick up a pen and you write that idea down on that piece of paper. Then it becomes a plan. That's the first stage, first step. Get a piece of paper, write your idea in the center and put a circle around it. And have little lines like a spider around the outside. And put what you need to do it. Let's just say, for instance, you want to be a landscape gardener, right? Just for instance, write landscape gardener in the middle, little circle around it, a line going out. What's the first thing you're going to need? You're going to need a truck. So the first thing is the truck. Next thing, tools. Next thing, you're going to have to do advertising. So there's your 3 predominant things. So advertising's first, because obviously without advertisement, no one's going to know you exist. No one's going to go forward. So then the next thing is your tools. You can't work without tools. What do you need to do it? It doesn't have to be, talk doesn't have to be a physical tool. It can be a mental tool. It can be, if you want to write a book, what do you need? You want to find something. I use something called Wordsmith online when I write a book. So I get an idea, something pops into my head. Like I'll give you, for instance, something popped into my head this morning of like, what's your biggest thing you need to overcome? And it's me. I'm the biggest thing. My competition is me. It's you versus you. Yeah. Your biggest competition, you look in the mirror. What did I do yesterday? I might have wrote 1,000 words. Let's just take that, for instance, write 1,000 words. Tomorrow, I want to write 2,000 words. So you're competing against yourself all the time. It's not about your competitors or anything like that. Quality comes afterwards. That's, you know, what you're pushing out. So if you look at, you want to learn, so then the truck, and then you break it down with another little line. How am I going to get that truck? Do I have the money to get that truck? Build a plan, a really big, exhaustive plan. Go really high level about how you're going to start it forward. It could be you have an idea for a website, write your name in the middle. It could be create how to draw for kids. Let's just say, put it in the middle, draw for kids. Who's your audience? Who's your target audience? The ages between so and so and so and so. Are you going to split it and have a younger one's drawing area and an older one's drawing area and a help the parents draw area to draw with their kids, a draw along like YouTube, Instagram, these places? Then you can break down each one. So when you go to YouTube, you've got it coming out there. What's the site going to be called? What are we going to name it? How frequently are we going to draw it? How are we going to set it up? Is it going to be, you have to break it down. To take that idea, put it on a piece of paper. Take that piece of paper and break it down completely into bits. Think of the idea as like Lego, and you're taking each block away. You can reverse engineer it if you want to. If you want to be a chef, like Jamie Oliver or Gordon Ramsay, and you want to start cooking it, you've got to start from somewhere. Do not think it's going to be perfect from the start. Get across what you want.
I love that. Yeah,
that's it. It's not like we were talking before about equipment. When I first started podcasting, I was using my phone with the mic and the earpods, right? And I didn't want to see the earpods, so it bothered me. So I bought a mic, and I didn't like it, and the sound weren't right. And where I'm sitting at the moment in my office, I don't have any carpet or anything else. I was thinking, you're going to get that acoustic. So I needed a different mic. So I looked into all these different types of mic. So I got it settled with this one here, because obviously the different types of mic and the different types of filter. You've got something called a pop filter over the top here, because when you go, but these are things you don't know at first, right? And it doesn't matter, because no one's interested in the mic that you've got and everything else until you maybe become successful, and then they start going, oh, what are you using? And they go, what they're interested in is your message, what you've got to say. People, like this whole system you've got set up here is perfect. People are sitting at home and they feel isolated, right? And they think that they're alone when they're not. There's a community of people ready to talk to you, like about their struggle, about their life. Some people are doing really well out of it, and they're enjoying themselves, and they've never spent some more time. But some people are not doing too good about it. You know, that's it. Just, you've got to occupy your mind. So if you want to write this idea down, and you've got an idea, have 10 ideas. Get a pad. On the first page, write the first idea, line. Right in the center, put circle around. Next page, right in the center, and have lines. And those lines are what you want it to be. Then get an A3 piece of paper, right? Once you've got those lines, and write it at the left-hand side. And then write it coming out, and then another line of how you're going to get to that point. When I was training to be an engineer, I was an electrician, and it was around 2010, and we were doing the Olympic Games in Stratford, right? Yeah. And I remember turning up there with 5 other guys that I knew, electricians. And when we got there, there was 60 foreign electricians there. Now, I'm not bothered about that sort of thing, but they were only paying them £30 a day. Right, and the reason they were doing that, because the firm wanted them to come in and just throw it in to save money, and then have people like us to come and snag the work and make it better. That was it. But taking an idea, having anyone build it, and then just come in and have someone finesse it and round it off. Like, you've got a cube, they want to round it off into a circle. And I didn't like that, and I thought I could run this better, I could do better. But how can I be a manager? How can I be an electrical engineer? How can I be a project engineer like I am now? So what I did was, I looked through jobs online, and I found the job that I wanted. And what I did was, I went to the requirements section, And in that requirement section is a fucking to-do list of all the things you need to do that job. And I took that to-do list, took it away, and I learned every single thing on that list. Every single thing. And I went to every job that was like it, and I had a giant list. And I used that as a tick box to what I needed to get to where I need to be. Now, to do an idea, you do the same thing. You take where you want to be and you reverse engineer it backwards like a tick box. What do I need to get to that stage? You want to be a champion ice skater. Do you know what you need? Skates and ice.
Yeah, and determination and time.
Exactly. Skates and ice and the willingness to just get up. You've got to be able to get up. That's it. So, and then once you've got the skates and ice, that's half the battle won. You just got to learn. You've got to learn to do what you want to do. You've got to have determination and will to do it. But first, start at the end and work backwards. See the bigger picture. Write it down. Be what you want to be, and look at and have a checklist of things you've got to do to get to that point. You know, and if you want to, just get up. And like Russell says something that I used to say ages ago: is get up, brush your teeth, go to work. That's it. And that's the same principle. Same principle. Get up, enjoy your time with your family, and while you're doing it, you can't tell me you can't sit there, put like lately, put Dougie on, see BBs, put a Disney film on, whatever, with your notepad and sit there and write it. You don't need a computer. You don't need it. You can even use notes on there. There's actually an app that does it called Node, MindNode it's called. You can download it. Puts a circle bit in there and the lines going out and everything like that. Think about it's not impossible because someone else has already done it.
Yeah. You just want to do it better. You just want to do it your way. And that's all.
Homer Simpson said it best. You just find that if you want to invent something, you find something that's already been done, stick a clock on it. You know what I mean? It's a new invention. That's it. It's the same principle. Have the balls to be blatant. Go out there and do it. Take something. All an invention is what you've done is you've filled a requirement. That's it. Right? So, oh shit, I don't want to tie my shoes anymore. Velcro. Win a chicken dinner. You're a millionaire. That's it.
It's find a problem, solve it. Find a problem, solve it.
Exactly. And that's all it is. Supply, demand. But do it. You could already have a supply and demand on a problem that's already done. Do it better.
Gary Vee said that. Gary Vee said something very, very similar. He said, there's nothing wrong with copying someone else's idea as long as you want to do it better. And that's
correct.
It.
That's it. You've not pioneered it. You don't need to. Listen, how many people make cars? 1,000 people do it.
Thousands, yeah.
Exactly. But some people make better cars than others. Some people put a little bit extra into it, like, you know, and don't be afraid to rush. There's a good analogy someone said to me once. It takes 6 minutes to build the engine for a Vauxhall, but it takes 6 months to build the engine for a Rolls Royce for a reason. One's handmade, one's like thrown off the day. Yeah. People pay for quality. Some people want that little bit extra. Like I was going back to what I was saying about memberships, right? I pay £37 a month to Brewdog, big up Brewdog, right? So like, it's just because I love the beers. They're all weird, different beers. People have made beer before. It's nothing special. But what is different? They've got a grapefruit one and they've got a tangerine one, and I love that. Just different ones, and I like to do it. But they do something called a subscription. 3 different types of subscription, right? And it makes you feel like you're part of a club. It's nothing special. I could just buy those beers myself, but they make a box, send you 18 beers a month. You feel like you're at different levels. It's like offering that extra, that private thing, that what you do, that service that they're doing. It's no different to anyone else, but they're just making you feel special. You're part of something, part of a family. Same principle as your gym. That's it. You want to be made to feel like you're treated that little bit more, like you're a platinum customer. You're not just a normal customer, you're a gold customer. You know what I mean? You're part of that clique. And that's the principle. What it is it doesn't have to be a specific, it could be a service you're providing. That's that little better than everyone else, you know? And don't think about what you do, like the free content thing, which is why I love it so much, why I give everything out free myself. I teach the podcasting or the books or whatever else. You want people to trust in what you're doing. Like you credibility, it can take years to build and seconds to just lose, just like that. You know? So just, if you want to build an idea and you want something to be epic, just think outwards, not inwards. That's it. And start and pick up the fucking pencil and write it down.
And focus on that problem. Focus on that problem you want to solve.
That's it. And you've got nothing but time right now. Right. No fucking excuse. That's it. You've got nothing but time. Write something down. One thing a day. One thing a day. Do you know what happens? when you write one thing, oh, it's just one thing. It's not. It's not about 1 to 2. It's about 0 to 1.
0 to
That's
1.
what it's about. Get off the fucking couch. That's what it's about. Get off your arse and do something. You know, if you're going to sit there and say, I'm hungry, if you stay sitting down, you're going to starve to death sitting in that fucking seat. You've got to get your ass up, walk to the kitchen, right? That's 0 to 1. Yeah. And then 1 to 2 is make a sandwich. You know what I mean? It's not difficult. It's the same thing with business. Do you want more? If you keep doing what you're doing, you'll keep getting what you've got. That's it. You know, that's 101. Get up and do something. Make your own club. Be what you want to be. Nobody will give you what you want. Nobody. And you know this as well as I do. One thing with business that I've learned is when you employ people, nobody gives a shit about your business, right? Apart from you, because you've got the vested interest in it. You're the one that's building it. So in all the businesses that I had, the ones that dropped or the ones that failed or the ones that succeed and everything else is because you have to do everything. If you want something done, you've got to do it yourself, right? Don't expect your employees to be what you want it to be, to push that business, unless they have a vested interest, which is why
or a belief,
after people.
or a true belief to be part of something.
And that is what happens when you give free content away and people believe in what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't need to charge someone and you don't need to con someone or anything else. You can give it out and everything else. That's it. It's let people, they become that community. And then you can have your special club. Do you want to go that little bit extra, have that little bit more of a one-to-one? Because they're invested in you. They want it. They're craving it. You don't have to sell it. They're going to ask, Jerry, where's this one-to-one thing? Can me and you just do this? Can we get to that stage? They'll come to you. And that's what business is about. You know, offer it. Show people what you want to do. Go that little step further, you know. But it all starts with the pen. Pick the fucking pen up, write it down. Start a plan. Do it today. There's no time. Because if you don't, you're trying to better yourself. It's you versus you, like I said before. If you've written one thing down, that's amazing. You've taken the first step. Because now, the obstacles, you're over it. Now it's making that dream come to fruition. Don't be a dream. Make it be a plan.
Yeah.
It'll take you 10 years. Do it. You know? You always find someone who'll help you. Get a partner. Get a mentor.
I love that, get a mentor. So, John, moving into the final part of this podcast, because we keep them just shy of an hour. If you were to sum up in as few words as possible, so we try and get under 10, what words and what feeling you've got about the current situation. So imagine people in 50 years' time are watching this back. What's the feeling in your household, and what words sum up the mood, the feelings, and the outlook, I suppose, in your household, which is what, 11 people?
Yeah, at the moment 11 people. Yeah. In my household, I think it's a positive thing because the kids are always going to remember mum and dad being there. Yeah. Mum and dad playing out in the garden. Mum and dad doing this. The drawings that we drew. The computer games we sat and played. That time, you don't get that back. You don't. It's just impossible. Like recently, like 4 days ago, I lost my dad. So, and for me, I wish I had more time. So I think from this, my kids and I'm going to take away the amount of family time and the amount that I feel like I've clawed back.
Yeah,
and it's been brilliant. It's for me. I'm happy with it. Like that's what I'm taking away from this. I think the positive thing, if I look at 50 years now, my kids are going to remember, and I'm going to remember if I'm still about then. Do you remember when during the coronavirus or during the COVID time, you know, we all sat down and we all played. We were forced to talk to each other. We were forced to pick up Connect 4. We were forced to play Pop-Up Pirate, and just, you know, it's nothing but good for me. That's it. I think this can be a positive thing. That's it. And for others, you can take out of this that during this time, it was what built that business. It was what built that thing. It's what made me realise I need to do this. That's it. And for me, it was I needed to spend that time with my family. And that's the number one for me. The time that they've had with me now, they'll remember forever, because I've done things and played games that I probably wouldn't have done. I'd have been not here. I'd been at work, or doing something else. So that's the big thing for me. Family
I love
is
that.
everything. That's it.
Now, guys, I think. Well, that's an amazing way to bring this into to close this this podcast off and this interview off. I think just listening to it back and recap on the things that we've said there is, I love the starting imperfectly. Just take that idea and work with it, guys. And the fact that looking back on this for people, this was a time where community overcame adversity, if you like, which is amazing. So
Teamwork.
John, teamwork. John, like I say, mate, you know what? We'll do part 2 and probably part 3 of this podcast. We try and keep them. I think we've gone for about 50 minutes. We try and keep it about under an hour because they're more bite-sizable, and especially when it comes to the input that you've put in, I think you definitely need a pen and paper, which I'll put in the show notes for this one for people to take it down. So, guys, thank you very much for watching this one today or listening, depending on what platform you are on. I'll send some relevant links into the show notes. So any of the stuff that John's got going on at the moment, I know that he's working on finishing up a couple of books at the moment. So any links to that as well. If you do want to get in contact with John as well, there'll be some information there where you can have a chat with him about some of the project that he is doing and any of his own podcasts that he's done in the past, which I was very proud to be part of once upon a time. Also, guys, if this has resonated with you and you do find that this has kind of sparked off a little bit of interest in your mind, please press that share button and tell the world about what you've heard today. It helps us get our voice out there. It helps John get his voice out there as well. And like we say, we're doing this only to help others through this turbulent time. Again, if you do feel like this has hit home and you'd like to have a chat with myself or John on his podcast as well, the Mad Positivity Podcast, please do comment below or get in contact with John himself via the show notes. So thanks again, guys, for watching. It's been an absolute, John, it's been a pleasure. I will get part 2 sorted out this week, and we'll get that sorted out for next week because you've got so much to say and there's so much more I want to hear.
Jerry, anytime, mate. Listen, anytime. I've always got time for you. You're a bit of a hero of mine. Do you know what I mean?
Mate,
so you're quite positive in that. It's good.
Thank you so much. Right, so you guys, you stay on the line, John, but I'm going to say goodbye to this lot. Thanks again for listening, watching, and we'll see you on the next one.